The answer to the quiz. You're all wondering, how did this guy win the animal quiz? Well, it was really simple, and today I'm going to explain to you how to make the quiz on your own so you can be a great programmer. Okay. This program is going to ask the player some questions about animals. They get 3 chances to answer each question. You don't want to make the quiz too difficult though. Each correct answer will score 1 point. At the end of the quiz, the program reveals the player's final score. That should be the outline of your code. This project makes use of a function, a block of code with a name that performs a specific task. A function lets you use the same code repeatedly, without having to type it all in every time. Python has lots of built-in functions, but it also lets you create functions of your own. When you want to use a function, you call it by typing its name in your code. In the animal quiz, you'll make a function that compares the player's guess to the true answer to see if it's correct. You'll call for it each question in the quiz. When comparing the player's guess to the correct answer, it shouldn't matter if the player types capital letters or lowercase letters. All that matters is that the words are the same. This isn't true for all programs. For example, if a program that checks passwords ignores case, the passwords might become easier to guess and less secure. However, in Animal Quiz, it doesn't matter if the player answers bear with the lowercase b or bear with the uppercase b. Both will be recognized as correct. That's very important. The program is going to keep checking whether there are any questions left to ask and whether the player has used up all of their chances. The score is stored in a variable during the game called score. Once all the questions have been answered, the game ends. Our outline will look something like this. It's going to start. We're going to set the score to 0. Then we're going to display guess the animal, which is going to be our quiz name. Then we're going to ask a question and get the user's answers. Then we're going to check their answer. And if the answer is correct, we're going to add 1 to their score. But if it's not, we're going to add nothing. So the score will remain the same. There is no negative scores. And then we can add more questions. And at the end, we display our final variable score. And then we end the quiz. I hope that all made pretty much sense. If you need any help, put that down in the comments. Now let's put it all together. Let's start by creating our score variable. Score equals 0. Okay. Type in the code shown here to create a variable called score and set starting value to 0. Okay. Let's introduce the game. Next, create a message to introduce the game to the player. This will be the first thing that the player sees on the screen. So we're going to print guess the animal quiz. And we're going to welcome them in. Okay. Now if we run our code, it prints welcome to the guess the animal quiz. Okay. Oops, typo. Okay. Great. Now let's ask a question and make it a user input. The next line of code it's going to ask a question and wait for the player's response. The answer, the user input, is saved in the variable guess1. Let's run the code to make sure the question appears. Let's start by making a variable called guess1 because this will be their first guess in a new line. And make that equal to an input statement. And our question should be make a question called which bear lives at the North Pole. If you know this is the polar bear. So let's build a check function. The next task we're going to do is going to check if the player's guess is correct. We're going to type a code at the top of my script before score equals 0. The code will create a function called check underscore guess, parentheses. So on top of the score, like stated, we're gonna make a function called and define it. Call it def underscore check underscore guess. So def means define, by the way. We're gonna set our parameter Okay, and we need our code. Global score. This first line of code here gives the function a name and parameters. The second line says the score variable is a global variable. This ensures that changes to the variable can be seen throughout the entire program. So every time you get +1 to your score, or even if you get no score, it will say, for example, score equals 1, score equals 2, score equals 3. It will tell you. Now let's make an if statement and say if guess is equal to the answer. So if the person guesses something that is equal to the answer, it will print correct answer. That should make pretty much good sense. Pretty simple so far. And then if they get it correct, under the if statement, we're going to write score equals score plus 1. So the value of score that we already have, we're just going to be adding 1 to it. Okay. Now let's call the function. Now let's add a line at the end of the script to call or run to check underscore guess. Oh, by the way, this top portion of code will check the player's guess matches the correct answer. So we're going to check if the player's guess matches the correct answer. And the 2 words in brackets are parameters, bits of information that the function needs. Here, these are parameters. These are bits of information the function needs. When you call a function, you assign values to its parameters. See, here's the 2 variables. These are the parameters. Okay. Now we're going to add a line at the end of the script called, which is going to run our code called call, the check underscore guess function. This code is going to tell us the function to use the player's guess as the first parameter and the phrase polar bear as the second parameter, since that's the answer. Below the variable called guess1. Okay. These are check underscore guess. See? We're calling the function by printing it underneath. Polar bear. Since this side was the answer, we're defining the value of the answer, which is polar bear. Now let's test our code. We're going to try running the code again and typing in the correct answer. Your shell window should look like this. And now we're going to type polar bear. There, correct answer. Once. You can also make it much simpler if you type a colon at the end, so then it gives a space for you to do it. Polar bear. Okay. Now let's add some more questions. It takes more than 1 question to make a quiz. So let's add 2 more questions to the program. We're going to follow the same steps as before. We'll store the player's guesses in the variables guess2 and guess3. Okay. I'm going to copy that. I'll make this guess2 and change our question up. Let's make our next question, which is the fastest land animal? Okay. Now let's make another question. Oh yeah, don't forget your function that we're going to be calling up. And since the cheetah, let's write cheetah, since the cheetah is the fastest land animal. Okay. Now let's add 1 more question. Let's make that question called, which is the largest animal on Earth? Okay, so that's going to be our second question. Third question. Not bad. Third question. Okay. Let's call our function again. Once again, let's call it guess3 this time. Oh, whoops. Guess3. And let's make that equal to, this answer should be blue whale. Okay, so we have our first question, and this check underscore guess, which is we're calling our function, just tells the program to check the guess 1. And this last one will tell us to check guess 3. Okay. Now let's display the score at the very end. Let's print your score. We're displaying the score now is string score. Now we're going to print the score. Okay. Now that we printed the score, it'll work. For this step, you have to use the str function to change the number into a string. This is because Python shows an error if you try to add a string and an integer, which is integer is a whole number, together. What happens if the player types uppercase L on line instead of lowercase l on line? Will they still get a point? No, the code will tell them it's the wrong answer. To fix this, you need to make your code smarter. Python has a lower parentheses function which changes words into all lowercase characters. In your code, replace if guess equals answer with the line shown. I'm going to show you right now. Up here, we're going to change this. Use our if statement and say guess dot lower, since we need to make it lowercase only, equals answer dot lower, since they all have to be lowercase. Now let's test the code again. Let's run our code for a third time. Let's try typing the correct answers using a mixture of capitals and lowercase letters to see what happens. Let's run it. We're going to say polar bear. Oh, whoops. Polar bear. See? The code printed correct answer, since we got the answer correct, which is the fastest land animal. Now let's say cheetah, but in all lowercase. It worked. Now, what is the largest animal? Let's say blue whale. Correct answer, see? And our score is 2. Since we got 2 correct. Okay. Oh yeah. The reason the cheetah one didn't work is because we have to put guess 2 here in the function. So let's run it again. Which polar bear lives in the North Pole? Polar bear. Correct answer, cheetah. And we're going to say blue. See? We got it all correct and it displayed our score at the end. Your score is 3. See? Not that hard. This is how to make a simple quiz, but we're going to make it even more complex. You can stop and end the video here if you want to go with the simple quiz. But if you want to make it more complex, then stay here till the end of the video. We're going to make this quiz even more legit. Let's give the player more chances now. The player currently has only 1 chance to get the answer right. You can make it a bit easier for them by giving them 3 chances to answer a question. Let's change the check underscore guess function to look like this. Okay. We're going to keep the global score and write still underscore guessing equals true. And let's make that attempt 0. Okay. Let's make a while loop and say still underscore guessing. These are still underscore guessing variable. And attempt greater than 3. So this basically means that you'll only get 3 attempts to guess it correct. Otherwise, the computer will tell you the correct answer. Okay. Now let's make our if statement. If our guess, which has to be lowercase because we had the lowercase, guess lower is equal to the answer dot. Or, okay, let's make that equal. And then if that if statement is true, we're going to print correct answer with the 3 attempts that they have. Okay, and then if they get it correct, we're going to add score. We're going to add 1 to their score. Okay. Like these are still underscore guessing. If that's false, this is the important part, we're going to make an else statement. And so if it's false, if the attempt is greater than 2, then the guess equal input. So if you don't get it in one attempt, it will say, sorry, wrong answer. And we have to try again. Okay. And it will add an attempt. So if you get 3 attempts, the computer will display the correct answer. And you will not get a score for it. You will stay at 0, or whatever score you're currently on. And now our last one, if the attempt is equal to 3, then this part should be pretty simple. We're just going to print the correct answer. Correct answer is plus answer. See, we're just going to add the answer at the end of this string. Okay, that's pretty simple. But how does this really work? This while loop on the top runs the check code 3 times or until the player gets the answer correct, whichever comes first. Now the next line, we need to make sure the line of code has the correct indent. The else variable asks the player to enter another answer if they got it wrong. And the attempt equals attempt plus 1 is going to add 1 to the number of guesses the player has had. And the final code down here on the bottom, well, in the middle, is going to display the correct answer after 3 wrong guesses. To know if the player has gotten the right answer, you still need to create a variable called still_guessing. You then set the variable to true to show that the right answer hasn't been found. It's set to false when the player gets the right answer. Okay. This is all. We're done. This is our quiz. Now I'm going to run it for you guys just so you guys can see how it ends up. Oh, whoops. Forgot our colon on the while loop. Don't forget that. And don't forget art. Oh yeah, see, these are all errors, guys. If you guys have any of these errors, please fix them. It's not gonna make your code run properly, like the errors we currently are having. What's the error now? Oh, okay. We need an indent. Okay. Oh, whoops, another indent. Okay, because these need to be under the loop. Okay, there, we got it. Okay, so welcome to the Guess the Animal quiz. Now, which bear lives in the North Pole? Okay, we're going to answer this one correct. Let's just say polar bear. See, correct answer. Which is the fastest land animal? Let's get this one wrong on purpose. Let's say lion. See, sorry, wrong answer. Try again. Now let's try again. Let's just say deer. Sorry, wrong answer. Try again. We got to our last guess. We're going to get this one wrong to see what it prints at the end. It should print the correct answer is cheetah. So let's see if it prints that. Let's just say antelope. See, the correct answer is cheetah. I printed it properly for us. Which is the largest animal on Earth? We're going to get this one wrong again and just say shark. Okay? And let's get this one right now, to see if it'll add to our score at the very end. Let's say blue whale, which is the correct answer. Correct answer. Our score is 2. Since we got two correct, we got the blue whale one correct, and we got the polar bear one correct. See, this quiz was very simple, and just only 27 lines of code. We can make a quiz as complex as this. Well, that should be it for this lesson, guys. If you have any questions, any help, you need anything, just put that down in the comments, and I'll be sure to get to you as quick as possible. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel and smash that like button for more quality Python. I'll see you guys